Hi, welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me here on my channel. I really appreciate your support. Just giving this video a thumbs up or subscribing really helps my channel to grow, and I really appreciate that. All right, so the movie I'm reviewing today is called Deep. This movie is a dramatic thriller and it premieres exclusively on Netflix on July 16th, 2021. It's rated PG-13 and it's an hour and 41 minutes long. So in a nutshell, this film is produced by Transformation Films and is an intriguing Thai film. I love that Netflix has been introducing all of us to more international films. And this movie is in fact directed by a team of people from Thailand, and many of those same people are also the writers of the story. The story is about four insomniac medical school students and how they're lured into a neuroscience experiment that spirals out of control. And they must find a way out before it's too late. So dramatic. The premise, I think, is especially interesting because our physical state absolutely affects our mental state. So let me tell you about some of the things I really liked about the film. First of all, the opening scene definitely grabs your attention and you want to know what's going on and what led to the events that happen in the very first scene. The cast includes Thai actors that most Americans will be completely unfamiliar with, and I really like that. I like discovering new faces in movies rather than seeing the same old ones over and over again, right? It's nice to kind of share the spotlight, literally. The English voiceovers are mostly good, although at times there are some bad moments. You get to experience a little bit of Thailand and see some delicious Thai food as one of the characters has a family well, it's not really quite a restaurant. It's like a little kiosk kind of where they sell some things, but they show some other Thai food. I've been in Asia in several countries, but I haven't been to Thailand yet. So it's on my bucket list. Anyway, I would love to have seen even more. The movie tells the story of a bunch of medical students, and my nephew is currently in medical school, and he agrees that there is not enough sleep going on around, and it's a big problem among the student body that they really sacrifice their physical health in order to acquire all of this medical knowledge and get through medical school. You will also learn a lot about insomnia. Fun fact, a medical student is told that she'll earn 100,000 Thai bahts, which is their currency, which is the equivalent of about $3,112.74. And then there are other increments, but if you've got that, you can figure out how much the other stuff is. There are twists in the story, and I always love twists. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I don't want to ruin it for you. And you can tell that it's a fairly recently made movie because one of the characters says, "I don't have COVID, I swear." And then you see a taxi driver wearing a mask. It was also interesting to see the contrast in personalities and values between all of the characters that showed how each of these medical students chose to spend money that they earned by participating in this questionable study. So overall, I really did enjoy the movie, but there were some things that I didn't like or thought could have been handled a little bit better. For example, some people actually might be annoyed by the dubbed English. I think that the audio and the video did a pretty good job matching, honestly, and it didn't bother me at all. Sometimes in foreign films, when there's a close up on a face and you definitely see the lips moving differently than what you're hearing coming out of their lips, that can be startling. But in this case, I didn't even notice it at all. However, I know some people will have a problem with that. You also do see some written Thai quite a few times, and there's no translation on the screen. Some of the acting isn't very good. There are some moments where everybody crushes it and others where you're kind of cringing just a little bit. The four medical students spend time coming up with their unique group name between the four of them in this long drawn out scene, but then they never actually use that clever name the entire rest of the film. And so afterwards I was like, what was the point of that other than showing this newfound friendship and camaraderie, I guess? Acts 1 and 2 are very interesting and things are progressing. And then the story kind of takes a ridiculous turn in Act 3, which is fine. I don't mind the story kind of going off, but the film kind of unravels the tone, the speed. Uh, Everything kind of changes, and not in a good way. There's a ton of exposition in Act 3 to explain the crazy plot. And by that time, you're just like, well, whatever. Now, let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, I think kids are going to be bored because it's mostly adults talking. There's a lot of talk of sleeping around and getting an abortion, having a suicide, talk of getting a boob job, lots of alcohol talked about and consumed. There's a little bit of profanity, but there's one F bomb. And then you see medical students working on cadavers, dead bodies. However, they do it very nicely because the entire body is covered and only the one body part they're working on is exposed, which is actually what I experienced when I was in college working on cadavers. And I thought it was fascinating. It was just that constant smell of formaldehyde that was so disgusting. So in the case of this movie, I'm glad that we don't have smell-o-vision. Anyway, there are some themes that are introduced and done very well in the story, such as suicide, insomnia, of course, and the importance of getting enough sleep and how that does impair cognitive function and your ability to make good decisions. And then there are some questions that are asked. First of all, what would you do for money? And what would you be willing to do for love or for someone you love? Other themes are friendship, responsibility, support, and choices, as well as consequences of your choices. So, you want to know what movie review mom grade I'm giving this? Again, I enjoyed it just because it was something different and the story was fresh. And so ultimately, the movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a B minus. But before we go, let me give you a couple of recommendations for other films that immediately came to my mind. The first is a very recent one, also on Netflix, called Awake. I think it just came out last month. And if you're interested in that topic of insomnia or not being allowed to sleep or incapable of sleeping, you definitely want to check out that movie and check out my movie review of that. Awake, it's called. Another one also on Netflix is another Thai movie, and it's also about medical students doing experiments. And that one is called Ghost Lab. So I think it's interesting that we're getting more Thai movies, especially, at least I've seen 2 of them now. Okay, so maybe it's not a ton. Anyway, I'm just always excited to see what kind of film comes out of other countries. That's it for my review. If you watch this movie, I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And if you don't, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next movie review. Bye for now.